You're listening to a special interview segment for the official podcast for WrestlingNewsSource.com.
All right, folks, now we're going to take a little break into the show. We're going to be joined by current TNA Wrestler Kid Kash. Kid Kash, Mr. Kash, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Great.
Awesome. So, we certainly do appreciate you coming on to our show. You spent time all over the world wrestling and been in pretty much every one of the major promotions. You've been in ECW, WCW for a short time, WWE. You've also been in TNA, where you are currently right now. You're certainly a ring veteran. You've spent some time in the past as part of the X division in TNA, and we would just love for you to compare the X division of today as to that of the past.
The X division of the day are a bunch of little punk asses that I'd like to slap the fuck out of if I was ever out on the street with them. They're not as tough, not as inventive as we were back in when we first started the X division. We were the originators, and but we told more of a story. We were more traditional with our high flying, and that's what made it so exciting. You just didn't see a 2-minute constant spot. And what sucks about it right now is, in the TNA, the guys are doing, a lot of them are coming from other places. Like some of them from Ring of Honor, and some of them, from other places. But it's like over the years, it's gotten. To me, a little worse, because they just don't take the time to watch what they're actually doing. I mean, they're kicking out of moves, midway through the match that are more impressive than their actual finishing moves. So to me, that's the difference. Yeah. I mean, good kids, but you can, just like talking to a brick wall. Some of them, so just don't bother. They wouldn't want to. They don't like wrestling me, that's for sure. But I usually just beat the shit out of them.
Does any of the newer, younger talent approach you and ask you for any advice or anything? Yeah,
they do all the time, and I give them one chance. Just a lot of guys ask me for advice and stuff. So and 9 times out of 10 they take it. But then you have these few guys out there that they'll listen to you and, try to humor you all day long. But then as soon as their match starts, absolutely everything that you suggested just went out the door, and they just went to doing, what they wanted to do. But in the end, it shows because they walk out the door with a handshake and never come back. And I walk to my hotel room, and I'm there every week.
Well, you're currently teaming up with Gunnar. You recently tagged up and lost to Hernandez and Chavo at Hardcore Justice. Can you shed some...
didn't lose nothing.
I'm sorry?
We didn't lose anything.
Well, how much progress do you think that Gunnar has made since making his wrestling debut?
I wasn't there. I wasn't even around whenever Gunnar made his debut. But whenever I got there, he was quite impressive, big boy. We have a lot in common. We're both big, heavy metal heads, and we love our tattoos, of course, you could tell.
Yeah.
And we both have a similar style, so that's what happened with that. I mean, I just had to, I was checking him out a few times and sat there one night and just had a talk with him. He's got I like his rough, edgy style, and it kind of fit mine. And I thought, let's put them both together, see what happens. And man, I'll tell you what, we're pretty vicious.
Absolutely. You're actually getting ready to go on a European tour. Are you getting excited about that? And where are you going to be competing?
I'm going to be in the UK and Switzerland. I'm going to be teaching a few seminars and stuff, my style of wrestling training, and then doing a few shows around the Plymouth and London area. Not exactly sure the cities in Switzerland, but I know I think Geneva the first 2 days, and then a show on a town that I can't even pronounce. But the rest of it, I'm looking forward to it. I don't really like the UK fans very much. I think they're a bunch of pieces of shit. But they all smell pretty bad.
Bunch of weirdos.
You know what? This is one thing I don't like about people over there. Over here in the States, we're much more aware of our cleanliness. We take showers, and you go over there, you can't even get a freaking wash rag. In a freaking hotel. I got to take towels and cut them up, and the people stink over there, man. I mean, they really do. Yeah, the girls are atrocious.
Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't let my mother bang one of those bitches, you know? I mean, for real. So,
yeah, we've never been over there, so.
and the guys, I mean, you know, these people over there, they call themselves wrestlers, and I mean, they're just shit, you know? They need to come over to the States once a year and get their ass thrashed by me and Gunnar a couple of times, and it'll smarten them up, and then maybe they'll start getting jobs, you know?
Yeah. Do you have any stories, any kind of beef with any of the overseas wrestlers?
I don't like any of the fuckers, you know? I really don't. I've only had a couple matches over there that was impressive, that stood out to me. You know, I wrestled Doug Williams, of course, and, you know, we've always had good matches. Pac. He's an amazing guy. My boy T-Bone, he's really, really good. He's come a long way since I first met him. Yeah, I mean, Marat Botsfors or something like that. I've wrestled him a few times over in Germany. But other than that, I mean, I just haven't had anything that really stands out that I could, you know, be proud of. Definitely wasn't a pay-per-view material matches over there. The guys just suck. You know?
You've been a professional wrestler for over 15 years now. You've seen wrestling business evolve, you know, from the hardcore days of ECW to now like the more kid-friendly PG version of WWE, you know, to sort of the in-between with TNA as well. Can you shed some light on you know, your thoughts of the history of professional wrestling and where it's going, you know, for years to come?
Well, you know, I've been around through the whole damn thing. I got started like early 90s, man. And I came in with the Rock and Roll Express, so I pretty much learned the Southern traditional style of wrestling, which actually, to tell you the honest truth, has helped me last 20 years in the business. To believe it or not, because I know how to tell a story, I know how to work a crowd, I know how to be probably one of the, you know, the meanest heels you've seen, you know. I started that way, wrestling, you know, people like Junkyard Dog and, you know, the Bushwhackers and even Ricky and Robert themselves, and, you know, many of those guys before I even wrestled an indie guy. I did that for probably about 2 years before I had my first contact with any independent wrestling. Then once I got with them, I was like, geez, these guys suck. Like, so I need to start doing something else, you know. So I started taking tours and, you know, and going out of the country and stuff like that, you know. But when I came back and started hitting some more indies around the States again, I met Rob Van Dam. I believe it was in North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And he was like, damn, dude, you need to be in ECW. And I didn't know what ECW was at the time, you know. And so I checked it out on TV, and I was like, well, shit, I can do that. That's nothing, you know. So one night I was actually watching the show, because it used to come on really late at night, like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning on the channel or something. And it was actually Rob, and he's like, hey, we're in Philly. You want to come up and, you know, get a job? He said, if you come, I know you'll get a job. And so I was like, all right. So I drove from Johnson City, Tennessee to Philadelphia right then and there. I packed a small bag, and I got my wrestling gear, got in the car at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I drove all the way to Philadelphia.
Wow.
Got a job, and that was the start of all that. I mean, but ECW was so much more different, you know. I think at that point was about 95 or so. Wrestling started changing a little bit, you know, the WCW style and the older guys and stuff like that. That kind of style was going out, and people weren't watching as much. But then ECW comes out, and they have, not that they were out here killing each other extreme, but the wrestling was so much more different, you know. We were bringing stuff from Japan and Mexico and stuff, and then we brought it into the ECW, and we did a different type of high flying that nobody had ever seen before, you know. We did a lot more than just a drop kick off the top ropes or, you know, a standing hurricanrana or something like that. I mean, we were doing hurricanranas out of the ring to the floor and, diving off of balconies and catching ranas and, and power slams into, tables and stuff like that. We were just putting our bodies out there, and the crowd just ate it up. And it just went from there. They'll never be, I think ever since then, too. I mean, to be honest with you, in my opinion, WWE's been around for so many years, TNA, WCW, all these guys have been around, TNA now 10 years. Man, ECW, for the time that it was around, I would compare the popularity of that company to any of the other ones in the world. I mean, honestly, they just had such a huge fan base. And you notice since then people try to emulate it and bring it back a little bit here and there, but it just doesn't work anymore, because the original, is just gone. We're all 10 years older, and, you can't get new, young, fresh guys to have the philosophy and the work ethic that we all did, and, the humbleness that we all did in that one dressing room, So that's where it's changed a lot. I know the kids are coming in the business are just totally not humble like they used to be or like we all were. And, nobody has to pay their dues anymore. They go to a wrestling school and then bam, they get hired. Or, somebody knows somebody, or you used to be a professional bodybuilder or something like that. Those are the guys getting the jobs anymore. So, traditional wrestlers aren't getting to work anymore.
It's a dying breed.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's a dying breed.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Oh, we were just talking about that in the dressing room. Me and Jamie Noble and, guys like that, even Rob Van Dam. And, we're that era of wrestlers that it all dies, It all dies right there. Once we retire from the business, then, our era will be completely gone, the work ethic and, bust your ass and give your heart and soul and don't worry about the broken bones, just give the crowd a good show tonight, I mean, we lived off of that. And Paul Heyman was a great motivator.
Yeah.
So full of shit, but he can motivate the hell out of you to work for free half the time. Great guy, though.
Speaking of things evolving and changing and all that stuff, can you give your thoughts on, top companies, banning of the chair shots to the head?
I think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
You ever taken a chair shot?
Can't say that I have.
It don't feel good, man.
I bet
and,
so.
I don't know. I can't count how many times I've, gotten concussions off of chair shots. That's why years ago, I quit taking them, period,
It's definitely a good
once
thing.
you take a chair shot, you can hit me in the back, but you're not going to hit me in the head,
Yeah.
That shit hurts. I mean, you do that shit, your entire wrestling career, my God, it's going to, that's going to mess your brain up, man.
Oh, yeah.
Can you share your thoughts on? Kevin Nash recently has publicly stated that he thought the wrestling business was dying on the smaller wrestlers, and we were just wondering if you could weigh in your opinion on all that.
Hey, man, I think, just in my opinion, I heard all about that. And, it's sad too because I was on the road many years with those two particular guys. Those guys actually, took me under their in a few different companies and helped me out a lot, tremendously. And I gave all nothing but respect to those guys. I don't agree with what he said. I mean, everybody has their own opinion now. Okay, I step on no toes, on this subject. But the way I look at it, I think it's contradictory to what was going on at that time. You're going to tell me that when Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero both won the World Heavyweight titles, that the houses that night just didn't erupt, and honestly, more people started watching. Simple as that. The ratings went up. They weren't, I'm sorry that he feels like, the business went down, because it didn't. It actually, if you really look at the numbers, it went up. So, I mean, I guess everybody has their opinion, but you're going to tell me that somebody like Kevin Nash ever had the raw, sheer talent as somebody is like Eddie Guerrero?
No, sir, I'm not.
never in a million years. I mean, never in a. He don't have the knees for it. He was too damn tall, and I mean, he didn't have to work. You know, his gimmick was to be a big man, and that's it.
Yeah.
He had absolutely no athletic ability whatsoever. I mean, it doesn't take an athletic guy to throw your foot up in the air, you know, or pick somebody up and drop them on their side. No, it don't take that at all. Get in there and do some chain wrestling, drop down on the mat and show some collegiate style along with some professional style, you know. Run. You ever watch Kevin Nash run? Running.
No.
It's like he runs with braces on his legs or something, you know. I mean, the guy's never, you know, done anything to me. I mean, he's never, you know, really talked about me, which I don't, you know. I guess that's good. I don't care. But yeah, I think it's sad that he would say something about those guys. I mean, you know, those guys really stood out a lot, and you know, I based, you know, honestly, the last 10 years of my wrestling career around people like Eddie Guerrero and you know, Chris Benoit. My style is a lot like Benoit's, but I also, you know, have the fast-moving pace as Eddie Guerrero. You know, and I work to my size and to my ability. That's just what I do, you know. And honestly, when I first took any kind of interest in wrestling, it wasn't a big man that got my interest. The first guy that ever got my interest in wrestling to where I really wanted to watch it every single week was Dynamite Kid. And then after that, Ricky Steamboat, you know, and the Rock and Roll Express. It was never the big guys.
Is there one particular match that you're most proud of, or you know, who was the one that took you to your limit and said that was, you know, that was the greatest match I've had?
I've had a lot of, man, I'm going to be honest with you, I've had some tremendous opponents over the years. I mean, I've had some really great, memorable matches that I'm proud of, but I mean, it really depends on the degree. I mean, if you're talking about sheer athleticism and stuff like that, it would have to be Easy Money. Him and I used to put on wrestling clinics in ECW with moves and stuff. I've wrestled Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero. I mean, dude, I've wrestled pretty much, you know, everybody. So probably, you know, to be honest with you, I've had a really, really great matches in the past with AJ Styles. We did a Falls Count Anywhere in the building, no disqualification, and I mean in TNA when they first were open, and the first year. And I remember that. That was actually a brutal match. I mean, because to be honest with you, when I walked in the doors, I didn't really like him at all because he was just that new kid who'd never been anywhere, and they were just pushing him to the moon. And I was sitting there looking at it, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, well, he's no better than anybody else. I mean, you know, what the hell is this all about, you know? He don't even have a name. Nobody knows who the hell he is. And then, you know, but they wanted me to keep working him. And I was like, all right. So I was laying it in on him. And you know what? I gained a lot of respect for that kid over the years because, you know what? He didn't let anybody come in there and just run him over. And I liked that about him. And he gave back everything that I gave him. And, I think that one particular, we came off of the balcony at the Asylum in Nashville and went to a table, and not like I hadn't done it before, but I just remember that one night. That's probably the last table I went through. It about killed me. And I think that's why it stands out, because we just we really did. We pounded on each other for everything we were worth.
Is there anyone on the TNA roster that's on Kid Kash's and Gunnar's radar? I know y'all fought with Chavo. Is there anyone else on y'all's radar?
Yeah, actually there are. Right now, you know, we're going to just go ahead and start whipping some ass thrashing ass whippings all over Chavo and, you know, Hernandez. We're going to get those guys out of there, you know, send those boys back to Mexico where they come from. I'm sure the landscapers down there need some help. You know, so. But yeah, after that,
just
there's only
dominate,
one way
huh?
for us to go. I mean, whoever holds the World Tag Team titles, I mean, that's where we're going.
Yeah. Just
straight
dominate.
up. I mean, you take two guys like us. I mean, there's no reason why we should be main eventing and wrestling for the titles. And I don't think anybody can beat us once, we get into that slot. We got pretty much the all-around package. I still do some high flying, and I'm rough as shit, with my MMA background. And Gunnar, he's the power of the group. But for such a big man, he's really light on his feet. And, he knows some stuff, too, that I've been finding out a little bit here and there.
Nice.
So whoever's holding them world tag belts, I mean, honestly, I don't really care
who it is.
If it's Samoa Joe and Magnus, or Kazarian and what's his name, Daniels. I would love for it to beat him. I'd love to beat Daniels to half to death, honestly.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't like him. I think he's a piece of shit. I'd probably, I don't think Gunnar likes Kaz. What's his name? Kazarian, Kaz, whatever. I don't think he likes him. So I know he'd like to probably break his little thin arms.
Show him what's up, huh?
Yeah, I mean, but they're the champions, so we're supposed to respect them, but I don't. I think it's just a matter of time. They're just the two guys holding it in place until I get there. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So anybody holding the belts, I don't care who they are. I don't care if Dixie Carter's half the tag team. I'll be her ass too.
Oh, you mentioned your MMA career. You have spent some time as a fighter. Do you have any desire to get back into the cage and back into MMA?
I have been for the last couple of years. Once I left TNA, and then I did some other stuff with WWE, and did some international stuff. Indie-wise. I came back to the States and, settled in, and it's probably been about 3 years now. I've been, rolling back with it again. Doing a lot of, probably about 2 to 3 fights a year, jump between, do some amateur here and there, and then I go do some pro fights and stuff. Working here in Nashville MMA. We own Team Gameness. And we all just work together and fight together, and that's just what we do. But I love it. It's just that one thing that I've done ever since I was a teenager, and even though I was wrestling professionally and making my money at it, I still periodically over the years would take time out to do at least one. It's just something that I've always loved to do.
Yeah.
And I love a good physical competition type sport, and that's probably about as physical as you can get.
You ever test Kurt Angle's amateur skills backstage?
No, actually, not testing like in the ring or anything. Kurt's a beast. Kurt is, boy, he's like Benoit was, man. When you grab a hold of him, you got a hold of something. And that's no joke. I mean, but Kurt actually has helped me get ready for a few of my last couple of MMA fights, whenever I was on the road and I, couldn't get to a gym. I mean, we would be in the back there and, he would be showing me some really great, moves and stuff like that. My shooting ability is, the older I get, is getting a little harder, to get down and up. So he's been showing me some really great, alternative shoot maneuvers, And he's a bull, man. I'm telling you what, when he grabs a hold of you, it's hard. People say that about me, but now I'm saying it about him. When he grabs a hold of you, it's, you own something.
Nice.
Is there anyone in the TNA roster or any other company that you have not worked with that you would like to get a chance to?
Yeah, I'd like to. Bobby Roode, I'd like to wrestle him. I'd really like to have a good match with Samoa Joe. He's amazing. For a guy his size, I mean, man. There's a lot of guys. Shit, I'd really like to wrestle the whole entire dressing room. I like to get Hulk Hogan's old ass out there, put the leg drop on him.
Nice.
Put him in the ankle lock and break it.
But Kid Kash, we certainly do appreciate you coming on to our show and taking some time out of your day. It's really great that we get to talk to you, and we certainly do appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for your time,
that's
kid.
cool.
So, who knows? Maybe we can have you on again one day pretty soon.
Anytime, call me.
All right. Well, we certainly do appreciate it, and take care, and have a good night.
All right, you too, my man.
All right. Bye.